Good morning and welcome to Raw F4. And damn, I look good today, don't I, huh? I got something for you. Hold on. We looking real sexy. I know we're looking real sexy. Time check. Hold on, time check. What time is it?
It's 3:51 a.m.
It's 3:51 a.m. Raw F4. I'm hyped today. I am super, super hyped today. I am phenomenally blessed. I'm still Jeff, and it's also snowing outside by me. I hope you're all doing well. I feel so blessed to be here. And again, if you're looking at me, I look slightly different. I look as good as I always do. I just got some dressing in and around me. Again, my mic should be popping out in front of you, looking really good. My background yesterday was a green screen. You should see it black now. And we're going to keep evolving. I mentioned that. We're going to keep evolving. We're going to keep growing. And we're going to take this thing to whatever level it's supposed to go. And today's show is important because we're going to talk about vampires versus suppliers. Vampires versus suppliers. And the significance of this topic really is us layering on what we're starting with, taking control. A couple of previous episodes or 2 or 3 episodes ago, we talked about just the concept of you're out of control. So acknowledgement is important. Yesterday, we talked about assessing your circle and then creating 3 buckets, if you would. And your buckets were consistent of a mentor at the top, if you would, because you're looking up to that person in theory. Competition peers, which are kind of like your flatline space when you look to your left and your right. And those are the people who are just like you, demographic wise, age, community, space, as far as where you are professionally, all those things line up. And then I hate to use the word beneath because no one is beneath anyone, but below is where you nurture, And that's how you serve. That's how you serve the world. So those are all high level concepts and significant for you to move forward. But today we're going to get into how you really focus in on the competition peer layer, because that essentially is where I believe the vampires and the suppliers reside. And super important that we address this in some granularity and that we be open-minded to the concept and how it impacts us. Because again, the concept is we're just trying to get back into a space where we have total control. And when we have total control, we'll start to have a lot of revelations and epiphanies and our intuition will kick in as far as, damn, should I be doing some of the things I should be doing to maximize myself and become the best version of me? So I'm going to use, of course, as always, my journey and how this applies to me and how I use it with the hope that it impacts you in some way. Even if it's like, this fucking dude is stupid and he's crazy, at least you don't know what not to do. And what I found in life sometimes is you learn a lot more from people who show you what not to do. I've had a lot of great bosses who were terrible at people management and relationship management, show me what not to do. A lot of people in the tech space that just weren't real techie, and you need some of that, shows you what not to do. Apply that to life in general. People are going to show you what not to do, and we need to use that to our advantage. So let's get right into this. I couldn't sleep again last night, man. These things are, I will admit, this show applies a lot of pressure to my brain, but it feels really, really good. And I want to ensure that what we do here is valuable and is never demeaning and or casting judgment on anyone. And I started to think about how this could flow today. And we'll get into some of the actions that occur on the vampire level, and I'll define those shortly, and also on the supplier level. But I didn't want to just come off and say, you're on the phone with your friend and he or she is talking about their significant other or their boyfriend or girlfriend, and you're on the phone with them all day, every day, and they're sucking energy out of you. That's true. But as I thought through these things, what became abundantly clear to me was, like, who am I? I'm nobody. I'm just like everyone else. And I don't always have the best conversations. And sometimes I lose intent that is positive in both directions. which when I ultimately reflect and look at it, what does that make me? I'm a vampire as well. I'm an energy vampire. And then there's suppliers, energy suppliers. And what struck me was that I believe, and as I reflect and I look back on my journey that's ever evolving and ever continuing, I believe we are all energy vampires. We are all energy vampires. And use this concept. When you go to sleep at night, let's just assume you're charging, right? You're charging up. Your body's going to 100%. Let's pretend you're like your device, your phone, and you get plugged in overnight, and sleep is your energy supplier. And it takes most likely at least on average, I think I talked about the other day, seven hours and 9 minutes for an American, but they tell you to get 8 hours. So you need 8 hours of sleep to be your energy supplier to then wake up and conquer your day. And as soon as you wake up and you start to do, it's like someone opening an app inside of you. You have, if you're a family man and you have a wife or a significant other, a husband and children, they pop open that wife or husband app, and they pop open the daddy or mom app, and they start pulling at you. And that inevitably is pulling at your energy. I know it sounds terrible, but the people around you are energy vampires, but they can also be energy suppliers, and we'll start getting into that. But you start your morning off, and your mom and dad app is opened, your husband and wife app is open, you get all that done, you go through your routine, and then you open up your work app, and work is pulling at you. Work is pulling at you for 8 more hours, right? And what is work giving you back? That is ultimately where we start to discuss. You have some questions to answer. And I had to answer these questions too, which is why I'm here today. So work is pulling at you. Maybe you leave the house, you wake up at 100, you leave the house at like 83%, you get to work, you have your coffee, maybe that's somewhat of an energy supplier, pumps you back up to like 86%, but you leave work at like 21%, right? And you're drained. Like, nothing has supplied you back with what you need to stay motivated, to stay positive, to stay grinding at a high level. But you're doing your thing. You're doing what you got to do. I'm not knocking you. It's a beautiful life if you open your eyes, regardless of what you're doing and how you're doing it. But in and around what happens at work is pulling at you. And that's usually what pulls your most resources. You're one big energy resource. And if you're just walking around as an energy vampire being sucked on by other energy vampires, it makes it awfully difficult for you to pick your head up and realize consciously what's beautiful in life. So you get through the morning, you get through work, you come home, and if you come home, maybe you go out to the bar after work. Maybe you go out to hang out with a couple of friends after work. This is where more of that energy vampire scenario comes into play, where are you consciously aware of what you're doing in these phases? When you come home, what do? You get your quote unquote nighttime routine. And maybe that's inclusive of coming home, kissing the kids and the wife or the husband, eating, popping on Netflix, and then, getting ready for tomorrow and starting it all over again. Not knocking it. And the last thing I wanted to do was put out a scenario that offended anyone from the perspective of, again, who am I to dictate what should be pulling at your energy? For me, what I have acknowledged is that if I am an energy vampire and I myself am pulling energy off of my resources in and around me, how do I maintain a high level that I believe relates directly to consciousness to allow me to propel myself to the best version of me and have complete bliss in my life every second of every day? And how I define bliss and how you define bliss, again, is relative. I might define it as being a billionaire. I might define it as just being a local worker that lives in my community real quiet and serves in many different ways. There's many different things you can do to accomplish high level of consciousness and success. My point of contention is, if you're not in control of your circle, and you're not in control in particular of your competition peers, then you're being sucked on and you're not and drained of energy, which then impacts your ability to achieve what you want to achieve, because you're still very important in life. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a core and a circle that you, again, feed, that's also feeding off of you, but you got to be the best you to then impact your energy space to your maximum capacity. So let's talk through a little bit more of the competition peer space. And when you look in and around to your left and to your right, all your demographics about who you are, your community, and where you're at, your competition peers reside in that level, right? I said it yesterday. You want a 3 Series Benz or 3 Series BMW, your community probably consists of people who are driving the same type of vehicles in and around that price range. Same thing for a 5 Series, same thing for a 7 Series. You go in a community of 1-bedroom homes, you're going to find a community filled of people who live in a 1-bedroom home space. 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, etc. It's all relative. And the energy vampires, they reside in and around your routine, and you have to assess who these people are. If you have a family and your family's not an energy supplier to you, meaning that when you're walking around as a phone and people are pulling on your apps, you need to establish your relationship so it feels like when you sit down at work and charge your phone and you're pulling at your apps, it's a different experience, right? Your phone is charged, you're pulling resources, but you're still getting energy. You're still getting energy. You're still being inspired and motivated. You're still moving forward and still completing your tasks and not feeling drained. That's the concept of the competition peers being energy suppliers. And it's a difficult thing because the people who typically reside in that competition peer space are usually friends. And how do you disassociate yourself? How do you even acknowledge that these people are pulling and draining energy off of you? You know, I was thinking of it like this. Let's say you spend an hour with one of your closest people every day, except for Sunday. So you spend 6 hours on average a week talking to somebody about their problems. And it's always about their problems. Their big toe hurts, their fucking right butt cheek hurts, they have their 11th boyfriend in the past 4 weeks. And you consume and process all these things, and it's 6 hours a week. When you multiply that out, that's 24 hours in a 4-week period. In a 4-week period, you've given this person 1 full day of your life to hear them talk about big toes, butt cheeks, and 11 teen boyfriends. If that's what gets you through, cool. My thing is, there should be no complaints then from you, but you got to assess. Now imagine you have 2 people who are telling you, one is now they're telling you about the one was the left big toe, the other one's the right big toe, one was the right butt cheek, this one's the left butt cheek, this one had 11 teen boyfriends or girlfriends, the other one has 19. And you're going through this cycle of pulling and draining. Same thing with work. I don't want to be at work. So you're approaching work in a way where you're unplugged and then you're being drained. You have to plug in. You have to plug into everything you do and make what you do a constant energy supplier. And once you shift your mindset to what is this scenario? What is my morning giving me? What is my job giving me? What is my evening giving me? What is my life giving me? Then you'll find ways to change your circle and really have impactful competition peers that are energy suppliers, which in turn makes you an energy supplier. Here are my examples. DW, SVP, who I introduced you to yesterday. We talked for about 46 minutes on a conference call yesterday. And in that 46 minutes, SVP explained to me the power of prayer through his culture and how when his father, who just recently passed, has passed, he then is allowed to pray with respect to his father, and I'm paraphrasing, but father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. You get that privilege and respect. That was information that was powerful. It inspired me from the perspective of faith. I'm plugged into that. It's an energy supplier. He and DW also explained to me what they think I should do as far as my next move in my career, which is important because they're watching it with me, giving me advice on, hey, I think I would do this, I think I would do that, and then doing it in their own version that I could see, learn, and play off of with the idea of making me better, right? That is energy supplier. My wife, who is the biggest supporter, right? She is someone who I go to for mentorship. We talked about it. Someone who I go to for nurturing, and someone who I go to as a competition peer. We talked at length yesterday, again, about videos, content. I'm plugged in. I'm getting a tremendous value out of this. Tremendous value. Energy supplier. My man VR. Look in and around me. I look so clear, right? I mean, you can see fucking all the imperfections God has put on my beautiful face. Right? I spent an hour with VR yesterday optimizing my podcast experience. I'm nowhere near where I need to be. I'm not where the end result is. Energy supplier. Double R happens to work in my company. My promotion was formally announced yesterday. Text me immediately. Congrats. You deserve it. That's a boost. That's an energy supplier. We all have an option. We all have directions we can go, and we're going to march in these directions. There's nothing you can do to stop the momentum you have from going forward. And you may not have identified that you have momentum, but it's there in a sense that it gets you through day by day. But how successfully you complete your days will dictate how successful you are. And in my view, as you walk around as your own vampire pulling energy, you're a phone with apps being pulled on. You need to find a way to plug up, plug in, be an energy supplier and receive energy from suppliers. Your middle tier, now that you've assessed your circle, you have your mentors, you have your competition peers, you have the people that you nurture. Look into your bracket of competition peers. And again, if you want to talk about somebody's boyfriends and girlfriends for 91 hours, go ahead. I'm not knocking you for it. What I'm saying, though, is be conscious of that. Identify it. Is that how you want your energy to be pulled? Is that how you want your energy to be given off? This has been Raw 4. Assess your circle. Eliminate anything in the middle that does not make sense and is not a supplier of energy. You will change perspective. You will change your effort, and you will change your success in life. I assure you. You are a product of your environment. We'll talk again tomorrow. May everything you desire come to you as you deserve. Be blessed.